But the excerpt that I want to read from my book is interesting to me because I didn't know that I was going to be in this group with Damien. And then he said one day we supposed to write about our military experience. And so since my book covers like a whole memoir of a life, I have a chapter started. My chapter 5 is Failure is Not an Option. And I just cut and pasted it into here because it's about basic training. So I want to read that. And you know, it's sort of funny, but it's not. But anyway, and it is from a female veteran perspective, because one thing that's sort of lost sometimes is that we are veterans and we serve. However, as much as people fought in my day from Desert Storm 1, I went in the 80s, as much as we fought to be combatants. Because when I joined, we couldn't be combatants. And today, after Desert Storm, and a lot of the suffering that a lot of women veterans had because they weren't trained to fight, and they were captured, and things happened to them. And I was in the medical, so we were setting up MASH units. But at that time, women weren't given the full complement of training. And now, in the Air Force at least, you are. And you know, you can better protect your life if need be. But with that, I'm going to talk about my basic training experience. Okay, here we go. Basic training was one of the most challenging and rewarding times of my life. There I was being put to the test, mentally, physically, and emotionally, and I was determined not to quit. Failure was not an option. Although I ran track in high school, the rigors of basics were a strain on my body and my mind. But the one thing that kept me going was my competitive spirit and inability to quit. Qualities which I didn't realize at the time would serve me well as I made my way on this journey called life. Lackland Air Force Base in Texas was hot as hell in July when I got there, and being exhausted and yelled at regularly didn't help make conditions any better. After a while, I tuned out the technical instructors, TIs, as if they weren't even there. It was a skill I had developed early in life, where I could just go somewhere in my head and escape into my mind while still functioning, though not paying attention. Some call it daydreaming. I call it a gift. I always hated being yelled at, cursed at, or otherwise bothered by other people, which begs the question why I joined the military. It seemed like a good idea at first. My father was supportive of me going to the military, and I think it fueled my decision to go. Also, traveling and seeing the world sounded great. Ohio State was not cost efficient for my family, so I was saving money and learning to stand on my own 2 feet, just like my father had often preached to my brothers and sisters. So there I was, standing on the drill pad at basic training, on my own 2 feet, burning in the 100-degree sun, standing at attention by myself, facing punishment and getting yelled at again by TI for daydreaming. "What in the hell are you thinking about?" TI shouted as I stood on the blacktop at attention. "You're gonna stand out here facing the sun until I tell you to come in," he said. As he was yelling at me, I stood there still as I could with my face held high and facing the sun at attention. "You can stand out here by yourself and think about whatever the hell is on your mind on your own damn time since you weren't paying attention," TI said. Veins throbbing out his neck, hat brim on my forehead with those squinty eyes inches across my mind as he yelled for what seemed like an hour. The crazy part is, he thought this a punishment, but it wasn't for me at all, because I was alone, and being left alone felt great. Sun and heat, I could do without, but the absence of voices felt like heaven. All that marching, heel stomping, shouting, and singing cadence all damn day made no sense. At first I was into it, but weeks later, it just seemed like nonsense, marching at the crack of dawn. My brain just refused to engage that damn early in the morning. When I first arrived at basic training, I was scared of everything. Scared of being yelled at, scared of being hit, scared of other recruits, scared of the showers with naked stranger girls, scared of bugs, especially the gigantic roaches, which were as big as my combat boots. Most of all, I was scared of the TIs and the taps on the bottom of their shoes. There was a feeling of impending doom when those taps got nearer to my location. However, after I had learned to keep up with the running pack and stayed in the middle so my short legs didn't cause me to get left behind, I could finally do all my exercises without stopping, and I had mastered my chores. I saw basic for what it was, a rite of passage to the gateway into the Air Force, and I was certain I would pass. So I tuned out the rest of the bullshit. No need to stress it or act scared anymore. I was over it. The problem was, my face was always giving me away, and I could not express the correct amount of reverence towards the TIs. And after I had reached that point in my training, so standing in the sun that day, I learned to adjust my moods and level of enthusiasm to match the mood and desires of TI. If not, I'd probably get skin cancer standing on that damn drill pad.